I think that's, for any business, that's healthy. And, it could put your business in a projection, in a progressive, angle, movement, motion where, now you're sustaining, growth year over year now because of a change in, value and change in process, by using the right technologies and, some of those small minor adjustments can make a huge difference in a business trajectory.
Yeah, it sure could. And as we unpack these things over the next couple of episodes and better understand what does this look like for Joe and the Memphis market and him, really looking to purchase that first vehicle, or what does this look like for Bob, who has 20 vehicles, but he's been in the industry for 10 years and so much has changed. There's a lot of I wouldn't say competition, but there's a lot of people that are at his heels saying, hey, you need to get over in Uber Black. You need to get into Uber Business. You need to get into Uber Corporate and all these different things that look great on the surface. But as you unpack it and you realize that, hey, if I work with this rideshare company, they're going to take a good 10 to 20% of my revenue because, again, they are feeding me and forwarding clients to me. But if I flip that and I say, hey, you know what, if I go and I make the investment, whether it's, ads or whether it's, some of the corporate travel, corporate accounts or the travel agents that you all may work with, how do I continue to leverage those relationships to help me and build up this clientele? So definitely looking forward to unpacking that a little bit more and telling folks a little bit more about the LTA and the Luxury Transportation Academy. So I want to for our test run, I want to go ahead and wrap us, and then we can talk a little bit about some of the what it's going to look like as we move forward. So when talking about luxury transportation and where things have where things have grown and improved, I also want to make sure over the next couple of episodes that we talk about where it all started and giving people kind of a history lesson of luxury transportation or just transportation, ground transportation as a whole. As I was doing some research prior to the episode, a lot of what I understood, because I'm still green in the space, I'm still learning, is when this first started, it was for the elite. It was only for the high paid, high class individuals who could afford to have their own personal drivers. And then it got into a space where a lot of people started seeing the protection and the quality of service varied from that of the taxi, varied from that of now rideshare. What would be your take on the difference between what they get from a rideshare company or a taxi versus what they get from a luxury transportation company like yours?
Oh, wow. So that, that would be a couple segments, that we could just dive into, but there's, I'll go over the basics, personalization, with rideshare, you get a stranger soccer mom in a Toyota Tundra, and, they could be smoking cigarettes, eating a pizza, their dog in the front seat, you name it. With Black Car, you have a licensed chauffeur who has been trained. With my companies, you have a vetted, trained chauffeur that has gone through, rigorous training to understand the right temperament, the right attitude, safe driving skills. And, also, there's another level of discretion and service. This is these are very, personalized, chauffeurs who understand, the nature of dealing with high end and, high net worth individuals in their homes and locations. And, there's someone to call if there's something wrong. If there's anything wrong, there's a number to call that somebody's going to pick up the phone and answer and say hi, and we're going to solve that problem for you right away. That's a big difference than Rideshare. There's no one to call. There's barely anyone to email to complain or to, make an adjustment. So, this is much more personalized service. Like we said, like you just mentioned, it's for a certain clientele of people who appreciate that type of service, who value, giving that time back to the customer, because that's what's happening. You're giving time back to the customer. And that's what we do.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge piece that we'll talk about, because I have plenty of what I consider horror stories, riding with Uber. And to your point, you can't guarantee the vehicle. You can't guarantee it's clean. You can't guarantee the safety. Especially at 4 a.m. in the morning, and somebody probably just woke up and they're still sleepy, and they're in the middle of driving you to the airport, and they're dozing off, and you're wondering whether or not this is the best decision. But when you have that level of personalization and quality of service, and the temperament and the value of the client that sits in the vehicle, you take it up a notch. And to your point, you get that time back, because now if I'm not worried about my safety, now there may be some additional things I can do from a working standpoint that I can get done. And I feel secure enough to get that done because of the type of transportation that I've secured, right? And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But as we wrap this up, we will be sharing stories. We'll be sharing some best practices for your transportation company. If you want to level up, there's more information you can learn from the Luxury Transportation Academy, as well as the mentorship that you can get being a part of that academy that's going to help you prepare yourself forward. So I'll wrap us up there. If you want to conclude with some concluding thoughts, and then we can go ahead and wrap.
I'll just conclude with, the mountain is only as big as you make it. Having the right mindset is very important while you're, navigating through learning the business. Make the best of all opportunities.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right. Thanks.